Welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to be focusing on digital citizenship and 21st century learning. Now the first thing you might be asking yourself is, what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship is using media in a safe, effective, responsible, creative, and ethical way. Now while that's a really good definition of digital citizenship, let's try to narrow it down to a few main elements. So digital citizenship can be broken down into 9 elements. These elements include etiquette, literacy, access, security, health and wellness, commerce, communication, rights and responsibilities, and law. Now once again, these are great elements, but let's try to break it down even further. So these 9 elements can be broken down into 3 categories. They include respect, educate, and protect, or otherwise known as REPS. So under respect, you have digital etiquette, digital access, and digital law. Under educate, you have digital literacy, communication, and commerce. And last but not least, under protect, you have digital rights and responsibility, safety, and health and welfare. So this video here is going to give you a quick rundown of what it means to make the online world a better place.
Making the online world a better place is easy if we follow some simple rules and online etiquette, and we can teach this to our students as long as we learn it ourselves. The internet can have both positive and negative effects on society. Today's youth is so active with social media, IMing, and texting that internet slang is replacing normal written language. Teachers are noticing an increase in internet slang in students' formal writing. However, studies have shown that this has no effect on reading and writing ability in students. Cyberbullying is quickly becoming a large issue in our online world. People feel free to express themselves in inappropriate ways because they have anonymity. People are braver than they would be in person. They say things they shouldn't say. Some forms of cyberbullying can even be prosecuted legally. We need to teach our students how to have proper online etiquette to avoid inappropriate online interactions. We need to understand basic rules like reading a post before we send it, making sure we use clear language, understanding that certain phrases or comments can be taken wrong, simple rules like not typing in all caps because it is considered yelling, or learning to answer emails and making sure you are only replying to the intended person. Not following these rules can have negative results. We also need to be careful what information we share online. Sharing personal information can lead to danger in the real world. There are people online trolling for information that they can use to hurt others. It is important to be careful not to share pictures or information that can reveal your location. Safety is the key in making the online world a better place. Educating ourselves and our students about simple internet etiquette will help to make our online world better. When we can use the internet safely, we can learn and communicate more effectively with people all over the world. The internet can be a great tool if it is used properly, following proper etiquette and rules.
So as you can see at the end of this video, they say that education is the key for both teachers and students. So let's look a little bit further into what that exactly means in the classroom. So 21st century student outcomes include the following skills. They need to have learning and innovation skills, life and career skills, information, media, and technology skills, as well as core subjects and 21st century themes. So these are skills that students will need to be successful in work and life in the 21st century. So under life and career skills, students will need to learn flexibility, self-direction, social skills, productivity or accountability, as well as leadership and responsibility. Under learning and innovation skills, students will need to learn critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. Information, media, and technology skills, students will need to know information literacy, media literacy, information, communications, and technology literacy. And for their core subjects and 21st century themes, students will need to know global awareness, economic literacy, civic literacy, as well as health literacy. So what does this look like in the classroom? So throughout our research, we found our Common Core standards for digital citizenship, and that's ELA Writing Standard 8.8. And it says to gather relevant information from multiple print and digital sources using search terms effectively, assess the credibility and accuracy of each source, and quote or paraphrase the data and conclusions of others while avoiding plagiarism and following a standard format for citation. Now this standard might look pretty familiar to you, as throughout anyone's schooling career, research papers were a requirement. But what's different with students today is that most of the research is now done online. And as we all know, as soon as you enter something into a Google search bar, you end up with hundreds of thousands of results. So now we need to teach our students which of these resources is reliable. Do you use the encyclopedia resource, or do you use information from someone's blog? Now we all know the difference from an encyclopedia and someone's blog, but students may not. As we all know, the encyclopedia is reliable information versus a blog, which might just be someone's personal opinion. And we all know that there's no internet police patrolling the internet telling students whether something is true or something is false. So this is something that we really need to help our students learn. So we're trying to teach our students digital citizenship, but how do we go about teaching it? So as a group, we narrowed it down to 3 main tasks. So the first one is targeted lessons, second is videos, and last but not least, of course, group projects. Now, before you get to teaching your students about digital citizenship, it might be really convenient for you to create infographics with citizenship rules. You can post it somewhere in your classroom where students can see it all the time so they know what they're doing as they're doing online research. Now, we found 3 main websites that can make it really convenient for you to create these infographics. The first one being Easily, the second is Infogram, and the last one is Piktochart. And I highly recommend that at the end of this presentation, you kind of take the time to look at these websites because they're super easy and convenient to use. Now, if you look in the right-hand corner of the screen right now, there's a infographic, and it says, before you tweet, Facebook, or message, think. So, think stands for, is it true? Is it hurtful? Is it illegal? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So these are some really good questions to pose to students before they start going online and working in different forums possibly and posting things. It's something that they need to think about. So before you do that, think. Next, something we found was a targeted lesson plan with these learning objectives. So if you take the time to do some research into digital citizenship lesson plans, you're going to find quite a few of them. The one that we found has a bunch of different activities that kind of builds up on what it means to be a digital citizen. So some of these activities include quick writes on interacting online versus face-to-face to kind of start that discussion. Defining words important to digital citizenship so they can get used to that vocabulary. It also includes group discussions, journal writing, and it also includes an activity that includes creating a classroom blog. So by the end of this lesson, students will have a really good idea of what it means to be a good digital citizen and how to work online. Now, if you want to get a fuller look at this lesson plan, again, at the very end of this presentation, there is a list of resources that you can check out, and one of them is a PDF file that will take you to this lesson plan and you can see it in its entirety. So to conclude this presentation, we have a video on digital citizenship for students, and watching this video, it's a really great tool to show students. It gives a great rundown of what it means to be a good digital citizen, and I think it would be a great video to show before having students go online interacting in the technology world.
$458 minutes. Did you know that's how much time you spend using media each day? 7 hours and 38 minutes. Imagine how that adds up over a week, a month, a year. Being connected, being online, it's what we do. We're all digital citizens, but what does that mean? Is it like being a citizen of a country or state? Are there internet police that'll track us down for breaking a law? Are there even any laws to break? The answer is both yes and no. Not everything online is just like the offline world. That doesn't mean it's a free-for-all either. You're part of a digital community, and that comes with certain rights and responsibilities. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Most rights and responsibilities are universal, like equality, freedom of speech or religion, or just being who you are. As citizens, we want to exercise our rights safely and responsibly, respect the rights of others, and be a force for good so we can make the community better. Being a digital citizen is also about knowing how your behavior affects your digital interactions and how to take charge of your online presence. Part of taking charge is understanding what you're watching and reading. There's a lot of information out there, some good, some bad. So knowing what's what is important. We all participate in a variety of digital communities and in many different ways. You're probably more casual on social media than you would be on a bulletin board at school or for a class project, and that's okay. It's just like being offline. You behave as expected for the situation. But that doesn't mean you can forget about the fundamental need to be smart, fair, and considerate. After all, each of your online interactions builds your digital reputation, and you want to be known as a good digital citizen, don't you? So, how are you going to spend your 458 minutes today?
So as you can see, that video, like I said, I thought did a great rundown of their 458 minutes and what it means for students. So I really think it's a great video to show to your students before they start working on the internet and participating in those different types of events. But that's the end of the presentation. Like I said, please check out our references. We do have quite a few here, and they're all really good, and they have a lot of good information. So if there's anything that you want to look into, either for clarification or for more research, it is up to you. But having said that, thank you so much for watching this presentation, and I hope it was educational.